Okay, this is a rehearsal for the Red Ribbon Week campaign public appearance at the Ohana Night Vape Prevention Talk. And this was scheduled on Wednesday, February 11th from 5 until 7:30 p.m. and we were not invited to go to it. We decided that, and you've seen the poster here, this was posted in not more than 3 or 4 places in downtown Hilo. So we didn't see this poster everywhere, and in fact it wasn't available in the newspaper. It wasn't published in the newspaper and wasn't announced on our music channels, our radio channels. It wasn't announced as an audio broadcast. So this poster only appeared in 3 or 4 different places in Hilo that we were aware of, and one of them happened to be our grocery store. We were not invited. So we have had actually a major influence on vape prevention in Hilo and in Kailua since 2015. And that would be by walking personally into smoke shops, or head shops as they're called, and visually dialing in on what is available and how trends have changed for Hawaii consumers since 2015. My first observations were that prohibitions relating to drug paraphernalia were not enforced. Shortly after I photographed drug paraphernalia in 2015 and 2016, at every smoke shop and head shop in Hawaii County, and this is 10 years ago, Hawaii State Legislature passed a law decriminalizing the sale of drug paraphernalia. However, most of these well-known smoke shops and head shops didn't go out of business. They just changed their marketing strategies and they continued to stock the same and more paraphernalia. And in fact, it was Hawaii State Legislature's decision to decriminalize paraphernalia that led to the proliferation of what is called an electronic smoking device, or an ESD. The market changed so much during the pandemic that nicotine concentrations jumped from, they were at 3 to 6% per vape, to nicotine salts, and those are a very high concentration nicotine in the same device that you could buy, or the same e-juice that you could buy 3 years ago. And so it was more like smoking a larger number of cigarettes to smoke a nicotine salt. And actually nicotine salts also came with the reassuring throat burn, so that if you're a smoker of cannabis or a smoker of nicotine, that you could experience a similar type of throat burn when you inhaled a hit, or a smoker of cigarettes. You could have that same sensation, although some of them are very smooth. It depended on your preference. So there were 2 key points in the market here in the state of Hawaii. One is that Hawaii State Legislature were embarrassed because in major shops like Cloud9 Emporium, located in the new industrial area in Kailua, the selection of drug paraphernalia in 2015 would blow your mind. It was, what's the word? I don't have one. It was disgusting, actually, and there was so much drug paraphernalia everywhere. The variety was like dizzying. It was, huge glass tubes that were like 1.5 feet long, down to basically meth pipes, which were also for sale and are still for sale in some shops in Hilo. So there was a lot of paraphernalia. And the second thing that happened is the pandemic. And no one got a handle on vaping or tried to stop vaping during the pandemic. And so nicotine concentrations basically jumped, so that people who had been introduced to the market through these low concentrations were now nicotine salt smokers. And actually the majority of smokers, and I did query the shop owners in 2023 and 2024, the majority of nicotine smokers actually did step up to nicotine salts. That is a transition that they made voluntarily because they had basically they had a tolerance to the nicotine. They had, now developed a tolerance to the nicotine. So when I finally introduced myself at the Ohana night vape prevention talk, I had to bring along with me our certificate of recognition for the Red Ribbon Week and the message to take a stand against vaping. Now, this has been ongoing for at least a decade, and there is no stand against vaping that is underway in the state of Hawaii. That is primarily a lot of, window dressing that's coming at you from the governor and from the local Hawaii Island Public Health Institute, from the local prevention authorities. In fact, this was the only prevention talk that I've attended about vaping in the last 5 years. So this is the only prevention talk about vaping that I've attended in, let's say, the last 2 or 3 years. Let's say that. So when we got to the talk, it was primarily the Youth Challenge students there, the kids who had been involved in like a militarized type of instruction here in state of Hawaii. So it's Youth Challenge. And there were no other members of the public there except the staff who help at the YMCA who work there. So YMCA is located at 300 East Laniakea Street, so it wasn't difficult for us to get there. But actually we found that we were experiencing some financial hardship on the day of the talk, and that we had difficulty getting there to actually present the certificate, which would have meant the Red Ribbon Week certificate of recognition would not have been, presented to this audience, and we could not have stood up to explain what we had accomplished here in state of Hawaii, and to explain how important it is to continue as a county, and there's a lot of action on this. A couple of years ago, a lot of students attended county hearings or county meetings. There was no change in the types of products which are available, and I'm happy to post pictures after this talk is over, and it'll be about 10 minutes long from my estimation. There was no noticeable change in the market, as again, a lot of these head shops stayed in business, now selling large volume electronic smoking devices and continuing to sell drug paraphernalia and other products, related products. And so we would not have been able to present the Red Ribbon Week certificate of recognition, or to encourage and to, in a way that was, I think, clear guidance, tell everybody there at that meeting to take a stand against vaping during the Red Ribbon Week, October 23rd to the 31st every year. This is important because we had to announce our theme this year, and that'll be in the next recording, since this one is just going to cover the Ohana night. So the Red Ribbon Week theme for 2026 is... Oh, you have to watch the next video. All right, stay tuned for the Red Ribbon Week for 2026. The Red Ribbon Week theme is coming up next. And so it's great that we were able to get to this Ohana night. That's progress. That's why it's in this series. Aloha, and thank you for listening.